What life-altering things should every human ideally get to experience at least once in their lives? Being single and alone. It's a very specific kind of freedom, but a touch of fear. I can do whatever I want. At the same time, if something bad happened it might be a bit before anyone even noticed. I had never lived alone until I was in my late 30s. I was terrified to live by myself, thought I would be scared and so lonely all the time, but it turns out that it is the greatest thing ever. I don't know how I will ever be able to live with another person again. I joke that if I ever get remarried we will have to have separate residences. Living apart together is a real thing. I think that would be my ideal. Too much stress goes into trying to share space with someone you simply want to love. And couples say they become less complacent and more appreciative about spending time together because it's not just a default that you'll be home together. As crap as it is, and I wouldn't wish it upon many people, heartbreak. I feel like a lot of personal growth can stem from it. It also makes you way more sensitive and understanding of others who are hurting and suffering. Empathy is far more important and powerful than sympathy. Yes, this is crucial. Knowing how to pick yourself back up and put yourself back together. Knowing that you may never have the answer to why this person left you, and then gaining strength from the whole experience. These are things that show us what we are made of, and things that we can look back on when we face another challenge. You can say I've been through this before, and I know I can handle it. Going through this now. I've grown a lot, but the scariest thought is what if I don't find love again? Eating healthy food for like 2 months straight. You never realize how crappy you feel if you've been feeling that way literally your entire life. Also helps you realize how insanely addictive sugar/fast food is. Once you go back to it the cravings kick in immediately, at least in my experience. I've said this before on Reddit and people literally message me saying I'm full of crap. Like okay, you don't have to do it. Just saying living off pizza and soda can make you feel like garbage. I'd been living pretty much exclusively off pizza, instant noodles and drink since uni, mainly due to not giving a crap about anything at all. I started eating healthily only 1 month ago, and I've already lost my pot belly and gone from feeling depressed and anxious all day every day to actually feeling the zest of life once again finally. If I felt 2/10 every day before, I almost immediately went to feeling like a 7 or 8/10. The difference is phenomenal. Travel alone doesn't need to be long, but I think it requires a skill to be alone and feel comfortable about it. Not many people take the leap to go and or don't have the skill. It is very valuable to feel comfortable being alone, being in a crowd for example. Most people are shocked when I tell them I went to Europe for a month and did 7 different countries. Over a week of that was by myself in Prague and Vienna. At the time I was 26. I'm female, which is what usually scared people. OMG, you traveled by yourself in a foreign country? That was probably the best week of the trip. I never even thought twice about it, never felt unsafe, and did some things I probably would have never done/experienced if I was traveling with a group. I would actually love to do it again. I, male 26, spent 5 days in France last year by myself. I still get shocked reactions when I tell people. People are also shocked when I tell them that French people were very nice. Probably because I learned enough French to at least politely turn the conversation to English without just screaming English. Go somewhere isolated enough at night that you can see the full skyscape, including the band of the Milky Way. Don't remember where exactly, but me and my dad found this volunteer-run observatory somewhere on a peak in Oregon. They had a giant scope operated by a few people and some hobbyists and students who had their own gear they'd let you use, but the coolest crap was being able to look up with your own eyes and see part of the Milky Way. I cannot describe to you the awe I felt. Everyone there was very passionate about astronomy and so helpful too, so the whole thing was an unforgettable experience. Oregon Observatory at Sun River, maybe? I've been there. It is volunteer run, from what I remember, and is overflowing with people who are glowingly passionate about astronomy. Total isolation. I'm talking traveling out to a remote location far away from civilization and far away from anyone else. Just you and the world around you, all alone, and not another soul in sight. It's such a bizarre yet powerful feeling. Here you are, completely free from the constraints of civilization, free from your obligations, free from your routines. There's nothing holding you back now except yourself. You're experiencing life at its purest. I went on one hell of a bushwalk not too long ago that took me deep into a forest that very few people have been through. There was a moment where I was sitting on this fallen tree where it hit me just how truly far away and isolated I was. And with that, just how far away all my problems were too. Out here, it was just me and the trees. It really seems to put life back into perspective when you inevitably have to head back and re-enter civilization. The juxtaposition is something else. There's a place I go to often to completely switch off. No phones, no contact with the outside world. I love it. It's like a detox. I myself also forgot a phone when gone for a poo. Standing in front of a classroom trying to teach. Friends who teach in the elementary/secondary system have the same complaints as professors. Everyone has a criticism, complaint or gentle suggestion to improve, but have no idea what is involved in getting all of the regulatory requirements, getting up in front of a class, and ensuring that the LOs are met in a way that satisfies federal, state and university administrators, while also engaging the students. It's getting worse and worse too. Amen. I did it for 2 years in a high school. Anyone who teaches has my respect, because I'll never do it again. Same here. I'll be the first to admit I was a terrible teacher who knew nothing at all about classroom management or how to plan consistently good lessons, but my hat's off to those who stuck with it. Working in retail, major city emergency room, police, and fast food. It's always easy to assume we know better until we work there and deal with some ignorant people who just wanna act a fool with anyone and everyone. I worked at Burger King when I was 15 and in high school. My boss at the time, a great dude, said you never know how someone's day is going or what they've been through. So if someone has a bad attitude, just keep smiling and help them along. Now that I'm much older and run a sales division, I always think back to that guy and that comment, and also that job. Make sure to treat your fast food, wait staff, bartenders, and etc. kindly, because you never know how many assholes they've had to put up with to get to you. I always try to. I probably wasn't as mean as I felt I was, but I was in a considerable amount of pain. When the cashier asked me how my day was going, I think I said something in a pained or grumpy tone of "it's going." I still feel bad about it. Everyone, unless otherwise proven, deserves to be treated with the same level of respect. Go into a nursing home and volunteer to sit with some of the loneliest residents. Let them talk. Just listen. You'll learn so much and experience every emotion you know and some you never felt before. So true. My nan had Alzheimer's and spent her last couple of years in a nursing home. Not everyone living at the home had dementia. Some were just physically disabled and needed the extra care. I've spent countless hours sat with various residents in various stages of mental health, and it's been worth every minute to hear some of the stories they have to tell, especially as I'm actually disabled myself and require full-time care too, although I'm lucky enough that I still get to live in my own home with my husband. I have carers here while he's at work. Even though my nan died last year, my mum and I still visit the home to see her and our old friends. They're always so happy to see us. We even arranged a party at the home for what would have been my nan's birthday last year. We had food, drinks, a live musician that sang all the classics from when the residents were young. It was amazing to see them all singing and dancing along, having fun, enjoying the huge spread of food and desserts we brought in. I'm going to suggest to my mum that we do it again this year, as it made my day to see everyone so happy, and my nan would have loved it. Love, not lustful, hormonal and temporary rushes of emotion. Deep, sacrificial, spiritual, hell or high water, to the ends of the earth love. To love someone like that, and to be loved like that in return, is the highest point of human existence. I would kill and die for my wife without a second thought. She knows this, and I know she would do the same for me. I never really lived until I loved, and specifically loved like this. I share this kind of love for my siblings and my parents. I love this. I think one of the biggest lies society feeds us is that we don't know real love until we've usually to do with finding a romantic partner or having a child. But there's so much love in this universe and so many ways it expresses itself. I love my husband to the ends of the earth, but if we are talking soulmates, that's my sister, hands down. Creation. For most people this will probably mean having a family and raising children. For others, and a large overlap with the child having crowd, this would mean taking some idea, some concept, and turning it into reality. Maybe it's making the video game idea you've had since you were a kid. Maybe it's writing a book, or producing a unique work of art. It could be designing your own home, or inventing something new. We as human beings have an urge to create things, and doing so seems to grant some kind of supreme satisfaction and joy. Whoa, you just made me realize why I have no urge to create. Children. I create all the damn time. It's possible, though I'm not a scientist. I also think this is why games like Minecraft, Terraria, and Stardew Valley get so popular. It's a blank slate world where you can create anything. Even though it's not all that special and the creations don't amount to much, these games stimulate your creative urges. What I wanted to express though was that creating things doesn't necessarily replace child having, but I do think that that's why some people, men and women, are perfectly happy as homemakers. I also think this is why adult coloring books took off. Fighting for one's life in some form. 3 years ago I was in a river for the swim portion of a triathlon. Because of heavy rainfall the week prior, the current was moving incredibly quickly. The race organizers eventually cancelled the swim portion of the event, but not until myself and about half the other competitors were already in the water. About halfway through the swim, the current became too much, and I was being carried downstream despite my strongest attempts to swim against it. It was at that moment that I was literally swimming for my life. It was terrifying at the moment, but an experience I'm really glad I had. Nothing like a near-death experience to make you appreciate life just that little bit more. I found quite the opposite. I nearly drowned. I got to the point where I had nothing left. I thought 100,000 thoughts in 1 second about my friends and family, my regrets, etc. Whatever was going on in my life was no longer my problem. Everything would work out one way or another. I made my peace and took what would be my last breath, a lung full of water. It seems the universe had other plans. The waves tumbled my head above water as I took that breath. I survived, and I can still be passionate about things, but something about that experience took the edge off. Nothing is life or death important anymore, because I know that my mind will once again make that peace if it needs to. This might sound counterintuitive to the question, but my answer is losing a career job. Now, hear me out. Most people think they're smart, good at life skills, and can generally get by, but when you lose your job all of this is put to the test. It forces you to really pay attention to how you spend your money. It forces you to focus on bills, and when they arrive / when they are due. It forces you to polish up your resume, which is always a good thing to have on hand. It gives you an opportunity to change your life for the better, but most of all it pushes you to survive on your own, giving you the confidence that you can do it again. Is it a fun period in life? No, not at all. It's scary as hell. However, once you find a new job, you continue forward with an appreciation for what you've got and for how fast it can all be taken away. I disagree on the grounds that some people really are smart, good at life skills, and can generally get by. That, and the lessons can be learned without being ruined. From my own experience, my company just completed a round of layoffs. It was a miserable 3 months of uncertainty, where everyone was watching their backs and doing whatever they could to make things work. As a result, several people got their resumes polished up. Many people had to change habits. My own family had to redo our budget to account for the possibility of no job. People interviewed, they struggled, and this was the people who didn't get sacked. No, you don't need to lose your career job. You need to honestly believe that you will. Anyone who does need to lose a career job to get their life in order probably needs a few other wake up calls too. I actually agree with this. It's life changing, but often for the better. People stay way too long in relationships and jobs for the comfort reason